time it is, man. We still wiping the cobwebs out of the eyes. Pause. It's Life of D Green. We are waiting for Parlay Hunter to get online. We are very up and at 'em. An early morning episode, man, jam packed this week, bro. Ladies, if ladies watch the show as well, NFL Sunday was incredible. A lot of fourth quarter comebacks. We had 6 games decided by a game-winning field goal late in the final seconds. So as soon as we get Parlay on here, man, we'll be ready to go. Up and coming week this Thursday, Bengals at Ravens. We'll get into that. Let's kind of review this last week, man. A lot of games, Talk about CJ Stroud. Is he the MVP? Astro Boy taking over in the Skull Nation up north. We'll talk about the Here We Go. 49ers making a very impressive, coming off the bye, comeback win. Really not a comeback, but just more a comeback in the sense of how they played the first half of the season. And so for me, a lot of things to discuss. The Ravens blowing a almost I think a 2-touchdown, almost 17-point lead. K1 came back this week. Lions out west versus the Chargers. Cowboys in a rout versus the Giants. Is Dak elite? I heard a lot of conversations yesterday with the analysts about that. Seahawks with a comeback win. Jets and Raiders going down to the wire, man. It was definitely an interesting week, man, to say the least. So, as always, remember, man, like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe to the page. This is Bro Media. This is Bro Bets talk show. We are the experts when it comes to this game called football, NFL, man. We're getting better by the week, understanding the game schematically, game changers, big plays, schemes, and all, man. There he goes, man.
You know what'd you say?
There he goes. You know what it is, man. It's very early.
What it is.
We've already done that for the first 3:30, but we'll welcome you in from New York, man.
You know what it is.
How's it going in New York? Are you next door to Tommy DeVito, man? Are you guys neighbors?
Yo, me and Tommy, it's all good over here with me
You're
and Tommy.
putting glasses and a Yankees hat on, drinking some coffee out of a cat cup.
You know why I'm happy?
You
want to know why I'm happy?
Why are you happy?
Because the Giants are getting Caleb Williams.
Well, didn't say the Giants won, but you know what it is, man. Bro Bets brought to you by Bro Media. I am Life of D Green. That guy right there is, I don't even know if he knows his name.
You know what it is. I'm Parlay Hunter.
Man, this is the show of the experts, man. Like I said before, man, like, comment, subscribe. Man, let's get right into this, man. A lot took place this weekend, man. This was a very great NFL week. 6 games, I believe, were decided by game-winning field goals or last-second just wins. To say the least, the first game I want to kind of talk about is in the AFC North, and it is not the Steelers. I would like to talk about the Browns going into Baltimore and coming out with a win when they weren't projected to win. I believe that they were 6.5 underdogs, as well as the way the game went. The Ravens, for the most part, had dominated the first three quarters, led by the Browns defense and Deshaun Watson making a couple of big plays. Jerome Ford played good, 17 carries, 107. Amari Cooper, 6 for 98. They came back and won. What do you got to say about your former residents of Cleveland, man?
Hey, you know what? The bigger question I have, we can get to it, is are the Ravens frauds? But good, you know what? The one consistent thing you see with Cleveland is that they have a run game. Their old line is one of those things that gets forgotten is because the defense is so good. The O line is always solid. Amari Cooper back to back almost 100-yard games. He had a 98-yard game, but I think that Deshaun is Deshaun, and he has, you said some important things about his health and his shoulder. He's in a boot today because he rolled his ankle. So, I mean, feel like you should touch on that. Talk about the fact that his injury and whatnot, how that could hold him back. Because when you look at it's week 11 now, and you're having injuries every other week, in 5 weeks, in 6 weeks, we're going to be looking at the playoffs. If you're not a well-running, oiled machine, you're not going to, you might not even get there in that division with all the teams in that division. So it's one of those things like, as good as the Browns are they more because of the fact that they're in the division, in the division that they're in, can they even will they even make it out of into the playoffs and out of the first round? They got so much tough competition, and it's so tough. It reminds me a little bit of like a team like the Vikings, where they look great. They got electricity, but you don't really think they're going to the playoffs. I don't really know if the Browns are going to go to the playoffs when it looks so bad with Deshaun. But they got that old line and they got that defense. They could surprise some people. But we need to talk about the Ravens and whether they're frauds or not.
Yeah. Great points right there. Good take there, Parlay. I believe that the
Thank you, Dre.
Yeah, we're about pause. We're about love on this show, and
all love.
To just remind myself, I will not be doing any bashing towards Parlay anymore.
Oh yeah, it gets rough.
I'm saying, even it's ironic. This is organic too, because it's ironic that we're talking about Deshaun Watson and the Browns, and I made some comments last week. So
Parlay, yeah. Let's not bring it up. Let's not go into further detail.
Great point there. Anyway.
Yeah. But I appreciate you mentioning the fact that we get heated. I appreciate you mentioning the fact that we get very heated in our discussions and bullets fly. And sometimes there's strays, things get said, and we're live now. So when it's live and things get said that we don't really want, it's not actually paint the picture of who we are. We're just those types of personalities where we get, a little bit loud, we get a little bit crazy sometimes when we say stuff. We let bullets, fly. We will let the bullets, fly, but we're going to just tone it down a bit just to make sure that, nobody gets canceled.
Yeah. On to the Ravens, man. I believe that the Ravens are not frauds. I think that they struggle to win a game where they have to play from behind. Pause. I just believe that they're not a team that's built to get into a real like bar fight if they were down in points. Like it's not saying like Lamar's not capable, but their offense isn't designed like teams such as
the
Chiefs, or even
the Chargers.
Even I wouldn't say they're not that great to me, but teams that offensive that are more passive schemes and things like that. So it's going to be tough for me to see what they do in the playoff, because if their run game isn't working, just like Cleveland, then they're very one dimensional in the sense of trying to rely on Lamar Jackson's arm, which he is a great quarterback. He's not a running back. He is a great quarterback. He's established that. He's a former MVP. He's had a lot of plays this year where you could see him playing from the pocket and things like that and making those key plays. But for me, it's hard to see their offense thrive when You have Zay Flowers 5 for 73. Then you have Mark Andrews 2 for 44, and then you have Odell 1 catch 40 and a touchdown, which was a great play. But then everybody else only has 1 catch and really 223 yards isn't going to win you any games in the NFL if you only run the ball 106 yards. Now the Ravens were coming into this game, I believe, top 3 in rushing yards per game, and so the thing that Cleveland did was very, very good, neutralizing their run game. And then they got the DBs and they have the front 7 to match the skill position. And so that's what is scary about Cleveland. I know we got to play them this weekend. Oh,
In Pittsburgh.
I got my shirt inside out.
Oh
It is.
yeah.
It
The
is very.
Steelers.
It is very the morning time. But yeah. I'll do this. I'll do this. There's Steelers stuff everywhere. People want to see those guys right there. But yeah, man. So it'll be interesting to see.
Mhm.
A little bit about the game this week for them though, playing the Bengals. Both of them coming off a loss. Uh, I think that this is a game for Baltimore to kind of see what they have, because similar to Cleveland, Cincinnati's defense has been playing pretty good versus the run. Now they had their match this week, and we can pivot into that conversation right now versus the Houston Texans, man. And I just believe that this guy down there in Houston, that quarterback, man, he's the real deal, man. Like literally, like people were trying to say last week, is he in the contentions as an MVP as a rookie? Where does he sit right now? This dude right now, if the NFL was to end right now for the season, won the MVP. What do you got to say about it? Houston going into Cincinnati, taking a win 30-27. They are 1 game behind the Jacksonville Jaguars in the AFC South to win the division when nobody had them at this position at this point.
Yeah. Well, we got to shout out, what's going on over here. Oh man, this guy's. Are you changing? Are you changing on camera? Or are we? Oh, he's got to turn his thing inside out.
Yeah, I can't be looking at you like that, bro. I'm just that. Just literally. It's 6:16 in the morning over here. So
Yeah. No, I was most surprised. Devin Singletary, 150 yards rushing on the ground. Now, of course, I'm most surprised. I'm like, we're all in awe about CJ Stroud, but the run game for Houston, man, like shout out to D'Amico Ryans, because that is, I mean, he's doing a hell of a job coaching, really, because I think that I didn't see a run game all year. And then potentially up until that point, that was the biggest game of the year for them. And you're at a point now in the season. It's week 11. The identity is, oh, we're not just the Houston Texans of old. I mean, we're beating good teams. Like, we're going to be in the playoffs. We're going to be in the Super Bowl in a few years. Watch out for us. So, I mean, just shout out to D'Amico Ryans, because I didn't see that run game all year. Devin Singletary steps in. Pierce was out. 150 yards rushing on the ground. That's so important for a team to win games, is to run the ball and run the ball well and whatnot. So that's huge. Guys like our friend of the show, Tank Dell, really stepping up when Nico Brown was out. I think that's really important that you got guys like him and Schultz, and you know what I mean, guys. Stroud is going to put these guys on the map now after the year. People are going to be, they're going to be high pick fantasy, players, and that puts their stock up, and people, that brings up their brand, and then brings up the Texans brand, and the Texans are doing great things over there in Houston. And yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Seeing a rookie running, we saw Lamar do it with his legs and throwing his rookie year. And then, but to see a guy like Stroud do it, just 450 yards, like throwing the ball, 350 yards throwing the ball, back-to-back games, like that, that's a different way of doing it. A very, very, very impressive way of doing it. And yeah, man, I agree with you. Like, the Houston Texans are here. Like, it's not. It's shot, like the Bengals are. It's not like a shot at the Bengals, but the Texans are here. You need to recognize, you cannot let, like think, oh yeah, we're playing the Texans this week. This is going to be an easy dub. Not anymore. Like, this team is here now. They're here competing now.
yeah, just to elaborate on that, just the commitment to the run game. As I look at this key stat, 150 yards on the ground, but 30 carries. Like You rarely see that in the NFL anymore at any back, whether it's uh, Derrick Henry or Brees Hall with the Jets, whoever you name the best running backs in the league, even Josh Jacobs for the we'll look at his stat line in a minute, but like it's different. And for Houston be its passing team, yeah, that sends a message from D'Amico Ryans. I just think that the argument of the question is CJ Stroud in the MVP race? Damn right, he's in the MVP race and he's leading it right now. Like statistically and just morale wise, you can't tell me that this dude is not the most valuable player when he is the most important piece for this team. If this team does not have him, we wouldn't talk about Houston. Remember the days that Hillmeyer was very Parlay was very enthused with David Mills at quarterback.
It wasn't that long ago. It was like
Yeah,
a
what's that
few months
ago?
ago.
A year ago. And so yeah, Nico Collins, not Nico Brown, Noah Brown, an emerging Noah Brown, and that's the thing too. CJ Stroud's really, trusting guys that are kind of have been like, I would say makeshift dolls. You remember those makeshift misfit dolls that you see on like Toy Story? Remember the misfit doll you see on Toy Story? Like
Yeah. He's got like army guy legs with like
yes, yes.
Raggedy Ann head. Yeah.
Yes. These dudes, no offense to these guys, but I'm just saying, it seems like
The misfits.
they're the misfits because they're forgotten about. Noah Brown was just on the Dallas Cowboys, and come on, man, he had 7 for 172. I don't think he had over a 100-yard game, maybe one or two in his career, and he's been playing phenomenal this year. Nope, Nico Collins, a third-round draft pick, from Michigan, and so for me, Michigan by way of Texas. So you get these guys. Tank Dell, we knew what he was going to be. He was a star in college at U of H, University of Houston, and so you get these guys, man, and you really you just build their confidence by the trust that you put in them to go out and make the plays. Because it's not like CJ Stroud's just dinking and dunking down the field like the
No.
Patriots offense. He's making explosive plays, bro, and they're going in there confidently against good teams and really just beating. It's like you said, like we not afraid of y'all. If you want to fight, motherfucker, we gonna fight, and I'm gonna beat your ass, and then we gonna win the game, and that's what it's gonna be. That's how CJ Stroud is playing. So for me to say that, there's no way you can't say this guy isn't the MVP right now. I don't know who's playing better than him at quarterback, honestly. Like you can say that some of these guys have statistically better, but there's nobody overall playing better. And Stephen A knows that. Shannon Sharp knows that. Skip knows that. Dan Orlowski is vouching for this on NFL Live. Shout out to Dan. I think Dan doesn't get a lot of credit. I think he's a very good expert in what he talks about in a game and just designing plays and knowing offenses and things like that. I'm gonna say it, bro. If CJ Stroud, if they end up winning the AFC South, he should win MVP.
Yeah, they're only a game behind. The Jags are ahead of them by one game, and two of these teams in the AFC got to go to the wild card. And Buffalo is second in their division. They looked terrible last night. Pittsburgh is in your division. You're second. You could, but with all those teams, you guys are second. Baltimore's ahead, but who knows what could happen in that division? And Las Vegas is second in their division. So the second place guys in the AFC North and the AFC South could very well be, at this point, it'd be Pittsburgh and Houston, and that'd be a great wild card.
There's no reason, as I look at their schedule, they can't win out, bro. That's the thing now. Now Houston can't be a team, and I don't think D'Amico Ryans will be that type of coach. I think he'll have them ready every week. But for me, Houston can't be a team that they play the Cardinals. Shout out to Nick Rollis, our boy defensive coordinator for the
Yeah.
Arizona. But like, can't lose to the Cardinals, can't lose to the Jaguars, can't lose to, even though this will be a good game, and we're gonna get to this because this team is different after last night. The Broncos are a different team than we expected after last night.
Well, Cardinals are a different team as well with Kyler Murray. We should shout that out.
I will shout that out, but they're still finding their way, and I think Kyler Murray will take a couple games for people to really get his feet back into the game, and really it'll be too late for them.
Overreaction. They beat the Falcons.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit over. I think you're playing on emotions. He's back and things like that. So then Houston has Titans twice, They have the Browns at home, and then they finish with the Colts at Indianapolis. So easily they can. To me, they could easily, but it's nothing's easy in the NFL. So they could take that division. I hope to see how this story unfolds. But right now, man, CJ Stroud easily rookie of the year. If not, if not only that, I think D'Amico Ryan possible coach of the year and CJ Stroud MVP. So on to the North, man. Astro Boy does it again, man. Like I said, we have had a crazy week. Week number 2, Josh Dobbs.
Hey, I think you need to copyright that. Did you just come up with that?
No, I did not come up with Astro Boy.
Okay.
A lot of people in Minnesota have been tagging that as a thing. They've been using the astronaut emoji
Okay.
for
Okay. I
nation.
got.
So I take credit for that. I don't want any Vikings
Hey,
fans or
bro,
any
we might have
astronauts
to. We
come
might have to make some
to my door.
merch, bro bets merch with Astro Boy picture. Josh
Yeah,
Dobbs.
man. We should. Astro Boy. Let's anybody, any shirt maker, print makers, shout out to the show, man. Show us where we can find a deal to get some print shirt makers into our house. I know they're very costly. If we can do that, we can add some merch per week to the show, give you guys some shirts, some hats, whatever we want to do. But I like that idea, Parlay. But yeah, man. Josh Dobbs, uh 23 for 34, 268 yards. Now, I was watching this game while I was watching my Steelers game, and the first half, you couldn't tell me that. And the Vikings, bro, it's weird. The Vikings sometimes are second half teams. Sometimes they start fast, and this was a game that he came in there, bro. Vikings started fast. It looked like they were going to just blow the roof off of New Orleans. New Orleans ended up coming back with an emergence of Jameis Winston, who I think will be the remainder starter of the year. Derek Carr had got a concussion, but regardless, I pray that he's healthy. But I just think Jameis came in with a little bit of different fire. He's at least gonna, like I said, bro, win and die with Jameis Winston. He's gonna throw a couple interceptions, but he's gonna make some big plays too. But on to Josh Dobbs, man. Phenomenal game. TJ Hawkinson, man. What can you say? The dude is having Travis Kelsey type of numbers. 2018, 2019, Travis Kelsey, 11 for 134 and a touchdown. You know, I love that deeply. TJ Hawkinson's on my fantasy team, 40 points for me again. Ty Chandler, finding the ways to run the ball. The Vikings are with Ty Chandler, Alexander Madison, and even Josh Dobbs. And I mean, his play, his rushing touchdown is why they called him Astro Boy. He did a lot of very astronaut things on that run play, man. What do you guys say about the Vikings and Josh Dobbs?
Well, I think Dobbs is it. What's really going to be interesting is at the end of the year when you got to think about Josh Dobbs or Kirk Cousins, because what Dobbs can with that offense being as quarterback friendly as it is, if they sign a running back in the offseason or draft a running back or trade for a running back, like with I mean, they did just get Cam Akers, and they have, and exact Alexander Madison is great too. But the way that the Vikings, or the way that the NFL is going, is that there's like a lot of offenses seem to need two running backs, and Madison was working really well with Cam Akers. I think Madison got injured in the third quarter as well, and but it will be interesting to see what happens with. They'll have Cam Akers and Madison, so that's good enough. But with Dobbs and Kirk Cousins, you have to decide what you want to do there. Dobbs is younger, seems to be really smart, and I like to see like the one thing that also you like to see is that he is improvising and making plays with his legs a lot and saving drives because he's scrambling and he's running for first downs. I think that's like a high IQ type of playing there and just like saving a first down. And then you can tell when somebody has kind of gone past that part of learning about the first steps of being a quarterback in the league, kind of like what you see Aiden O'Connell going through right now, still winning games with Pierce as a head coach. So shout out to them. Maybe we'll talk about them, but just seeing like Dobbs being young, but now he's at that part of the stage where he could lead a team. He could be a starting quarterback and he could do very well. And it could be with the Vikings because they're a young offense, a young head coach. And, I think the Minnesota fans love him. Talk a lot of, it's kind of all gathering a lot to stuff together to make a story of will Dobbs be the quarterback of the future for the Minnesota Vikings? Kirk Cousins is on the end of his career, so that'll be an interesting conversation to have when it comes. But yeah, man, I mean, T Hawk, he is such a huge part of that offense. What did Jordan Addison at 69 yards? That helped a lot, almost 70 yards. So when Jay Jets comes back in a week or two, because he said he's going to come back, that offense is going to look really good. They're going to be a tough team. They might ruin some people's hopes of making the playoffs at the end of the year as well. So that's great for them. They're 6-4. I mean, I don't know if they're a team though. The Saints have been shaky all year. I mean, they haven't really had anything going. Michael Thomas, I don't think he even found the end zone. Like, they should be, they should have been better. They had a good defense as well. So I think it's the Saints got there's more work. There should be more worried about the Saints and what they're going to do, because you got two quarterbacks, you don't have one.
Yeah. I mean, the Saints should be more worried about what they're going to do as far as a quarterback going to get Derek Carr and signing them. I believe he signed him to a $100 million deal. Not the guy. Never thought he was the guy. And that's no offense to them nor him. I just think Derek Carr was always a little bit overrated. That's no here nor there. As I look at the NFC contentions, Vikings are right there at that final spot. So for me, I think they can get in with Josh Dobbs. And you said key point, Jay Jets comes back. I would hope to think that he'll try to come back, because, like I said again, we'll get to the Broncos in a minute. I think that's a very more tough game now after what they've done in the last couple weeks, especially last night. I don't know if the Vikings can win that even with Josh Dobbs without Jay Jets. I think you need a little bit more firepower to match, just because you're gonna need to definitely have a decent amount of weapons. That defense is looking pretty good, but even if they don't get that game, they'll go 6-5. I see them winning their next two. They play the Bears, and then they play the Raiders. They could win that. Then they got to go to Cincinnati, but they have to find a way. They have to beat Green Bay to close out, but they have to win one of those games versus Detroit. They played Detroit twice in the last 3 weeks, and so
that's gonna be tough. And
that's gonna be tough.
We've lived in Minnesota long enough to know how they perform in those types of situations.
Yeah, but it's doable because they have a quarterback who they're confident in. You're right. It has been, but I think also too that the Lions could be at a point where they're resting guys, and the Vikings may need that game to get in. So my thing is this: if the Vikings get in the playoffs this year, it's a success for them because they lose their quarterback. A couple weeks ago, they're starting quarterback in Kirk Cousins, and this is my thing. Why not have a two quarterback situation like the 49ers have had in recent history? I think that's a good thing for the Vikings. Saves money as far as trying to draft a younger guy. You can either, give Josh Dobbs a decent amount of deal and then give Kurt continue to pay Kurt per year, or you can give Kurt a longer term deal and give Josh Dobbs a deal where it's just like 3 for some. But he's gonna set the cap. Now, Josh Dobbs is gonna be if the Vikings don't want him, some team's gonna sign him for a very large contract. So I will say that. So I think the best bet for the Vikings is to bring both back, because the chances of the scenario, we're talking about Kirk Cousins past 34, I believe, or how old is Kirk Cousins? I don't know how it is exactly. If you want to find that fact out real quick, but
he's like 34. He's like 35. Yeah,
you're taking a chance with him tearing his Achilles. Like that's not an injury that they're trying to rush him to get back like Aaron Rodgers.
But my thing is you're paying him $50 million.
Yeah, but he's up there in that regard. When we're talking about those quarterbacks, let's get off the not. I'm not saying you are, but let's get off the Kirk Cousins slander, bro. Before he got injured, bro, we were saying he was in the MVP contentions. Kirk Cousins was playing phenomenal this year. I will have to say the last couple years he's been playing phenomenal. If you want to talk about Justin Jefferson's success, there's no success without Kirk Cousins. So I think the situation for the Vikings is, man, they got to take a deep consideration to re-signing both of these guys at the end of the year and figuring out a way of a plan, to keep Josh Dobbs fairly uh, involved in this offense because he's only 28 and that's young for the NFL. And
Yeah.
if they keep him around to just be a backup quarterback, that would be great if that's what he wants to do. And I think he's a guy that, as he's performing now, this will build his confidence, I would say, to where he is now going to probably feel like, yeah, I'm a starting quarterback, which rightfully so he's been proven. But I don't know if when he's if another team signs him, will he be that guy? Because it's like here I go back to the word of the day. Like it's the misfit doll again. Like he's already been on 3 or 4 different teams. He's been a great backup. He's not been a real starter
I
for
have
a
a
whole
question.
year. Go
I got
ahead.
a question for you. Is he better or worse than Jordan Love?
Right now, he's better than Jordan Love.
That's
I'm,
interesting
I'm
because
saying, I'm
if he's
saying,
looking for a team next year, there's
but
teams like that could use him.
I'm saying, far as just winning and playing within the system, he's better. Talent wise, he's not better than Jordan Love. I
But
seen
if he
Jordan
was
Love.
on the Packers right now, would he perform better than Jordan Love is?
Yeah. Yes.
Interesting. That's an interesting take, I think.
Yeah.
And I agree with you.
I think he would. I mean, just because we got to remember again, Jordan Love's been in the league for 4 years, I believe. This is his first real season. Josh Dobbs has been in the league the same amount of time, but has had a lot more sample size as far as playing as a starting quarterback. So I just think I see it that way is if he's a little bit better because his confidence of knowing NFL defenses and just having the confidence of playing. Jordan Love never played TJ Watt in my team this week. Great transition. Thank you, Parlay, for that. Jordan Love never played the Steelers. He never played a lot of teams. And even going against my Steelers this week, man, he came into the newly, I don't even like to call it that, so I'm going to call it Heinz Field still. He came into Heinz Field. He threw for 289. He threw 2 touchdowns. He threw 2 interceptions. But he did have a couple of throws where I was like, this dude is just talently good. Like, to me, he has a better arm talent than Kenny Pickett. Is Kenny Pickett a little bit better than me to him? Is Kenny Pickett better than him to me? Yes. I think Kenny has had war wounds in the last 2 years of his young NFL career to be proven better than him, knows the system a little bit more, knows what to rely on to win a game. And I think that's where the Packers are having frustration at. They don't know how to finish a game, and they have good running backs. They have A.J. Dillon. They have Aaron Jones. They're still trying to figure it out at receiver. That's probably their biggest cancer right now is they have a lot of dudes that don't want to really take the lead as the number one. I think Christian Watson is very overrated. That's just me. I'll let you speak on that.
Yeah.
And I just think that was a great win for my Steelers. I'll get obviously to our side of the things, but to talk about the Packers to continue, I'll let you go ahead. But Jordan Love, man, he has
Okay.
great arm talent, proven plays there, but I don't know.
I'll say a few things about the Packers, and then we'll throw it back to you with this, and you can talk about the Steelers. But yeah, I think Watson is actually a proven good talent. I think Luke Grave has shown a lot
You
of
think
talent.
Watson proven good talent?
Yeah, Luke Musgrave looks real good.
No, yeah, Watson.
I said Christian Watson last year with Rodgers looked pretty good.
No,
This year he's been injured, and he has, he showed a few glimpses of looking good. And my point is that like, okay, he's clearly not C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud is taking guys rookie year, they're getting 60 yards and a touchdown, 150 yards. Tank Dell a week ago, touchdown. So I'm just saying, like, Jordan Love, there's this one characteristic that he seems to have where it will be clutch moments, end of the game, and it's a 2-minute drill, and he will throw it into triple coverage and ruin the drive, lose the game on a stupid play during the 2-minute drill. And I see him do it in like basically screwing up critical situations where he can play 98% of a good game and then 2% of absolutely terrible turnover football and lose them the game. And he has done it so many times that it's one of those things where I think you're supposed to learn from this, but he hasn't learned from it, and it's a win now league. And I can't. I don't know what the quarterback comparison is, but you can throw for a lot of yards. You can throw for 2 touchdowns, but kind of like Jameis Winston, you're gonna turn the ball over late in the game, and you're gonna lose us the game after we just put in 90 minutes of hard work all over else on the field. You're blowing it for us. And it's like this thing where it drags out for a year or two, and then they eventually he moves on and goes somewhere else, or he loses his job and he doesn't play anymore. So I think he's got to just figure out how to not blow the game in critical situations, and the whole team could be a lot better. And they need to focus on that run game. That was supposed to be their identity, and that is not their identity, but it should be, and it was supposed to be. Jones got 30 yards. Dillon had 70 yards. Those guys are supposed to run for 70 yards each every game.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great take because you're right in some sense about him being compared to Jameis. I don't think he makes enough. I don't think he has enough good to be on that side like Jameis as far as making a lot of plays because this was one of his better games for 289. I mean, our pass defense is still coming together even without Mika Fitzpatrick,
Yeah,
but
he was out.
yeah, so I think even if Mika's back there, I think a couple of those plays don't happen. That long bomb late in the fourth quarter to Jaden Reed, that was like he was getting sacked and he literally just threw it up and just threw up a prayer. So it's like for me, I don't know with that. But on my team, Kenny Pickett did Kenny Pickett things, very pedestrian, 14 for 23, 126. However, our run game was very vital. We found a way. Our O-line played great. Najee played great. Jalen Warren needs to get re-signed for sure. And I think Najee is playing a little bit more inspired. So I think I said it yesterday. I'll say it even the
O
last couple
line.
O-line, but I'm saying in Najee case, he's playing for his career right now. He's playing as if he doesn't want the Steelers to trade him or cut him at the end of this year. And I think he stays around one more year. I think the way he's playing now, going into this offseason, I would like Mike Tomlin to make the goal for him to lose like 15 pounds. I think what happened what made Le'Veon Bell, a classic name right there, great for us is he lost weight, bro. Le'Veon came back like 230, 240, 215, just like AP did when AP tore his knee. And I think I've never give me 1 second, Parlay. I haven't seen Najee Harris play to his standard that he should since Bama because he came in the league and he gained weight and he got slower to me. So that's the old ad lib. You add weight, you get slower. You lose weight, you get faster. And this dude is still fairly young, bro. He's got a lot of good years left in him. He's 25 years old. There's no way he's got, and it's not like, yeah, we talk about running backs life expectancy. This dude is built to play at least 10 years in the league. He's been in the league now for 4 years. So no, not even 4 years. He's been in the league for 3 years, bro. It seems longer than that. But yeah, bro, he's got to definitely, to me, he's 242 right now. There's no reason he should be fucking 242.
Well, all right. I just want to say he is a phenomenal athlete. And when he came into the league, he looked the same size to me when he came in the league.
No,
He
go,
wasn't the same size.
he was not, bro.
Okay. Well, when he came into the league, okay. Well, I mean, proves
And
more to your point. And
I'm not looking at guys like, but I got sizes and all that shit. I don't get into that weird pause shit like that. I'm just saying the guy has put on weight. He's
huge.
definitely, you can tell he just moves different. If you go put on the tape versus Najee Harris in college versus Najee Harris with the Steelers, night and day. Yeah, does he still hurdle people? But he looks like a fucking cow trying to jump over a fucking rock. Like, dude.
Well, I'm just saying what I wanted to say is that if he can still hurdle guys and he still has that juke stick that he had his rookie year, then I don't care what weight he is. The offensive line has done a complete 180 because they were opening up no holes for him 2 weeks ago from week 1 until week 8, and then all of a sudden in the last 2 weeks it looks like you got Pouncey back there again and opening up holes and like that makes his job so much easier Najee was, a really important guy that they drafted, and he came into the league with so much, ability. He's kind of like a poor man's Bijan Robinson. Like he was supposed to kind of be like that, like as
Yeah.
just be able to do all that. So I'm just saying, like, if the O line, if they have a good O line, it makes his job 100% easier, and he can do what he was doing his rookie year. And I mean, I feel like that O line is so important, and I think that's the main thing that needs to lead you guys into the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I think I agree, man. I'm a fan, so I watch the Steelers every week. I know how we look every week, and I've just watched him now for 3 years. And I just haven't seen the same Bama guy. The first year, I would say his rookie year, he had a lot of carries. He had a lot of we implemented him in the offense a lot with Ben. He helped Ben out in his last year, which was great. And even last year, he made a lot of plays, but he hasn't had that same spark. And I think if taking consideration he loses even fucking 15 pounds, drops to 225. I think he'll be way more explosive. I just think that it'll be better. Our O line to continue to get better. I think that's what Mike Tomlin is gonna definitely address. But we need to address cornerback problems. Pat P has played good in moments. Other than that, Levi Wallace.
That
I'm
guy's
sorry.
still in the league.
Yeah, Pat P is still in the league. Not
That's
even
got to
one
be like
top
45
three
years old.
favorite player of all time. Pat P is
I
obviously
know.
but
Shout
more
out to
so.
Pat P. He's one of the greatest ever. I know. I'm just messing.
No, I know you are with your fucking cat, dog, fucking mug, fucking talking your shit, drinking your tea like you're the late Queen Elizabeth or something over there.
It's coffee in this cup, buddy.
Anyways, no, Levi Wallace, if you're hearing this, man, your eviction notice is coming soon. I'm sorry, bro. He's got to go. A couple of my close friends that are Steeler fans. I won't name no name. We have a group chat, bro. Um, we've all damn near made a petition to get Levi Wallace out there. He is playing. You could play better than him right now. So we need to address some cornerback problems if we're gonna have any chance to make a run in the playoffs. I do believe we'll get
And
in the
that
play.
is a major insult. But yeah.
No, we do need to get better at corner. Not even just him. Just it's like every year I watch my team not draft the cornerback outside of JPJ this past year, which was a very great pick, obviously. But I think we need to get another first round guy or a second round guy at corner safety this year. I haven't been watching enough college football, in particular, like looking at who's been that guy on defense. Michigan, to me, their defensive backs as a unit is crazy. Um, they're they're definitely pretty good, but yeah, we need to address that. On to the next. Anyway, yeah, to just finish on that too. The Ravens play the Bengals, and we play the Browns this week. AFC North matchups. It's gonna go down, man. These are some important games this week from the AFC North. If we were all four teams make the playoffs, if we were to go to playoffs right now, that's one thing I will say. I don't want to hear anything about the NFC South ever again being a fucking division, nor do I want to hear about the NFC East. Respect to the NFC North for the first two teams, but they're not even in this conversation, or even the NFC West. The AFC North is the division right now. So let's go. Let's move on real quick. 49ers going to Jacksonville off the bye week. Get Christian McCaffrey healthy. George Kittle, new member of the team, Chase Young comes in, performs, get him a sack. Trent Williams back, Debo back. They look back. They look. It's not even about the score being 34-3. It's just about how they just pretty much dominate the whole game. I'm not going to talk much into this game. I think the Jaguars are a fraud. I don't really believe in the Jaguars as much as they made a lot of noise last year. Um, right now, Trevor Lawrence isn't showing me much of like him taking a leap to be what I thought he'd be this year. I thought he'd take that Joe Burrow leap this year, and he's had games where he's played good. They beat us. He played great in that game. I think their offense doesn't even go through Trevor Lawrence. It's more how good Travis Etienne plays, and I know he's on your fantasy, so speak a little bit on that. But I think Jacksonville as a whole is fraud. I expected obviously more Calvin Ridley. I was screaming Calvin Ridley about comeback player of the year this year. And he's disappointed. So I just think the 49ers did a great job of beating a mediocre team who everybody thought was great, and they look healthy. And if they are healthy, Bryce Purdy obviously is going to play good. Let's not forget that. People will now go back and say he's a good quarterback. Bullshit. Everybody's healthy. O-line is healthy. He's going to play good. If he has he's not an elite quarterback. If he has everything that he needs, see, Brock Purdy is like a seventh round pick. He's like a little boy. He needs mom to make his lunch for him, make the bed, everything, and he'll be all right. So Brock Purdy had everything given to him again this week, and that's why he played good. What's your take on this game, man?
You know what? I can't wait to watch this game back because I think you have to look at the 49ers. I haven't done this on the podcast yet because I think they were on a bye last week, so we didn't talk about them. But they, you know, like or 2 weeks ago, I mean, that Chase Young move. Come on, man! Like, there really needs to be like I don't know how they're moving their money around, but like, what is up with this? Like, how are so many dogs? How can they have so many people on that team, bro? Is it all because they're paying Purdy, $100,000 a year right now? Because that team is so stacked, it's crazy. And I do want to say, look, like if y'all don't win the Super Bowl this year, it's a bust season. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much more time Chase Young has on his contract, but that's a crazy move. I mean, Chase Young, arguably, and I sound real sour right now, but it's just weird to me that like it's a super team. That's what we're looking at. We are looking at like LeBron's super team. Like there is no LeBron, but it is a super team in that sense. So it's like I don't know. I'm just saying, and the Bucks had a super team back with Brady. So I mean, I just feel a little. I don't know. I feel a little. Just I don't know. It's one of those things
So
where it's like I don't. What you say?
you feel very like I don't know.
It just feels like that super team feeling. Like when you saw LeBron doing the super team, when you saw Brady doing the super team,
You
it
were
just
talking
feels
as
like a super. What?
constipated. Like you were talking as if you were constipated. You were like,
I don't know. It gives me this weird feeling in my stomach. I ain't gonna root for them now. I can't root for
no,
super teams.
no,
You know what I'm saying? Like I can
we're not.
even if they're in the Super Bowl now,
Yeah,
whoever they're playing, I'm not gonna be able to root for them. I just don't root for super teams like that. But the Jags, you know what? They're not frauds. Everybody has one. It's overreaction Monday. You said Purdy's, still not that guy. He has the team around him. People are going to be popping off today saying he's that guy.
I'll give
Last
them.
week, he wasn't that guy. This week, the Jags are terrible. Last week, the Jags were great. Everybody gets one. They fell off that game. And
But
the inconsistency, I just
no,
want to say the inconsistency is going to be a problem. And it's a problem this late in the year. And it does hurt their Super Bowl hopes. But they're still a stacked team. And Trevor is still a dog. And they
let's
still got a stacked team.
let's keep this in mind. Parlay. They are frauds. We've given them one. They got blown out by the Houston Texans, who are good. They beat my team in a more just okay the fashion where they kind of dominate the whole momentum of the game. But the week before that, if you want to remember, on Thursday night, they should have lost that to the Saints. The tight end, I remember this because I had put some money on this game, and the tight end fucking didn't catch the touchdown in the end zone. So I'm not gonna count that as a win. They beat the Colts, who don't have a quarterback. They beat the Bills, and I can't remember how that game went down, but obviously it was close, 25, and they beat the Falcons. So we're not gonna talk about this team being bro, I'm speaking from the momentum of where this team ended last season and going all the way to the divisional round and almost beating the Kansas City Chiefs. We expected a lot more from them this year, bro, at this point. So, yes, are they still in the playoff hunt? They're still leading their division. It's still a tad bit early. We're on the second wave of the second. After next week, when Thanksgiving hits, it gets serious, bro. And so you know that in NFL. And so for me, I just expected a little bit more from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think yes, they get in the playoffs, and they're gonna have to split with the Texans. They got to beat the Texans this week coming up. I think that's who they play this week. Correct? Go ahead.
Um,
Go ahead.
I just want to ask you a week ago, or 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
where did who was a better team, the Bengals or the Jacksonville Jaguars?
the Bengals were
2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago. Try more like 4 weeks ago. Are you serious? The Bengals beat they beat the 49ers 2 weeks ago.
Okay. But the Jags hadn't fallen off yet. And just my point is that they are, to me, they are a lot like the Bengals, where they might sneak into the playoffs, they might win the first two games, and it's one of those things where once you get hot and you win a couple games, you're hot, and you can possibly get all the way to the dance and compete for the Super Bowl. So that to me is what kind of team they are, and the Bengals are the same type of team. And but they're a little bit more stacked on defense, and they got a better running back. And I'm just saying they're one of those teams you got to look out for still. I'm not all down. I love the Jags this year, so I can't. I'm trying to defend them.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you, man. I just don't see it. I don't see it that way. I just think that I expected more out of Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars for the offense that they have and the defense that they have constructed through the drafts and free agency. They've done a phenomenal job. Their owner has done a phenomenal job of even changing that whole culture of that team around. Even when even remember the Jags when they had Ramsey and Blake Bortles, and they used to beat us. They did. And that's what's so weird that we would fucking lose to the. So that may be where my hate is coming from. My Steelers used to lose to these guys, but even then, bro, they didn't have no passing offense. They were straight run the ball with Leonard Fournette, and you name a fucking guy they threw the ball to. It might have been a guy off the street. So I'm saying the whole culture of the team, bringing in Doug Peterson to be kind of this quarterback whisperer for Trevor Lawrence. The issue is this: you're paying players to play at high levels. You have guys on offense, Etienne, Kirk, Ridley, Zay Jones, Ingram. O line is pretty good. They gotta play better, bro. That's all I'm saying. 3 points at home. Yeah, it was rainy a little bit, but come on, bro. Come on. We're at the middle of the season. I think we play better versus the 49ers now, and I'll tell that to Reese and Dwight. Steelers play way better versus the 49ers if we had to play them right now than week one. So that's all I'm saying.
49ers super fans of the show,
Yeah.
friends of the
Fuck,
show. Yeah.
no, not fuck them, but yeah, fuck them guys, man. I'm still a little bit hurt about that game, but yeah. Anyways, man, real quick takes. I don't want to speak much. I want to get to the rapid fire. Lions beat the Chargers 41-38. That was an interesting game late. Lions win late. More so for me, it's just kind of Chargers have been very back and forth like they always are at this point, and I don't know, that may backfire for them not to get in the playoffs because the Broncos are looking pretty better. I am on this not gonna just right there on the Broncos. I'm like wait to see what they do this week and next week, and then you'll see if I become a bandwagoner. Just excited to see what the Broncos. I'm just happy that they're this Russ hate has to come to a stop, and Russ is
Right.
trying to figure it out. But
And I
Chargers,
just want to share this. I did make this posted online. This man right here,
let him
he
cook.
he beat these guys, and he beat the Chiefs, and then he beat the Bills, and
Let
nobody's talking about it, and the hate is always louder than the applause. And when he was down, everybody was saying calling for his number to go home, And now look at him. He just beat the two best quarterbacks back to back. Let Russ cook.
Let Russ cook, man. So we'll get to that real quick. But then, Tommy DeVito, your neighbor, they lost down in Dallas, 49-17. Dak, another 350 plus performance, 400 yards. Brandon Cooks finally against the Giants got over 100 yard, had 173. CDM 151. There's still no run game like it should be in Dallas, and that will be a factor. Don't want to spend much time on the Cowboys this week, but gearing up in a couple weeks, they have a couple of important games, so we'll see what it looks like. Seattle late win versus the Commanders. They needed to win this game. Can't be losing to a team that's pretty average in Washington, and Washington should be tanking. That's who should be tanking after trading away. They're both their best two defensive players. I think that they're trying to be on a rebuild. Magic Johnson, partial owner to that team. I think they're trying to change the whole spectrum of that organization, and so Seahawks need that win. We'll get to them later this year as well because it'll get interesting always in the NFC West late in the season to see where they'll end up at. Sunday night, Raiders low scoring game versus the Jets was very good game. I will say this: we can speak a little bit on this, and then we'll talk about the Broncos Bills game. Man, Zach Wilson, I'll say this: the kid isn't Aaron Rodgers. He's not what we expected him to be in the second round overall pick. But one thing I will not say about Zach Wilson is that he's not tough and he doesn't have fight. He got them down to giving them a chance, even with the last seconds. After throwing a pick on the drive before, with basically like a minute and something left, they had about 30 seconds. He got from 30 seconds from the 20-yard line to get to midfield to throw even a Hail Mary. Is saying a lot. Well, I think they maybe only had one timeout. Raiders on the other end, Josh Jacobs, great running game. Antonio Pierce, 2-0 since starting. Even Devontae Adams, I posted on our website. He looks very excited, bro. He in 2 weeks, he's dancing and doing the Bay Area dance. You know what I mean? To get into it, man. And looks like the guy wants to stay in Las Vegas another year, if you ask me. I mean, he goes from throwing his helmet in Monday night versus Detroit to now he's very excited and joyful in the locker room. So, but yeah, like I said, man, Zach Wilson will not speak bad about him as far as toughness. And I think the Jets will have a fighting chance just because there's some weird shit that go on in the NFL. Just because I think a lot of people want to see Aaron Rodgers come back off of Achilles in only fucking 9 weeks. And so we'll see.
I just want to say I'm done with Robert Saleh. I don't believe in him as a head coach. He plays football games. He coaches football games to not lose them from the first quarter. He doesn't coach football games to win them from the first quarter, if that makes any sense. It just seems like he has, and even before the game, he's mentioned that the game was going to be played by who gets to 20 points first. Uh, basically admitting that he doesn't have faith in their offense and that they can't put up 30 points. And I just don't believe in him as a head coach. And I think he was a great defensive coordinator in San Francisco. And everybody through their career, they go through ups and downs. And I'm not saying he can't be a great head coach one day, but right now I don't believe in Robert Saleh and I don't believe in his coaching. But I've been wrong many times and said many wrong things before on this podcast. And I hope that he proves me wrong and he does well. And I hope that all is well with Aaron Rodgers coming back and Zach Wilson. But Zach Wilson, I mean, bro, he was a second overall pick. That he is a bust. All right, and I'm gonna slander him. You're not going to. I'll go ahead and say it. He's a bust, and he has never really had good coaching either. So shout out to the Jets organization. Tommy, Jimmy, whatever his name is, that kid, he's not getting no ice cream, all year. You know what I mean? With this, the way that this franchise is looking.
Get his name right. His name is Johnny, and I believe he's from either Queens. I don't know exactly, but he's a guy. He's my friend.
I wish he could get more ice cream, but the Jets are letting him down.
Well, you go have ice cream with him. You live in New York. You're closer than me in miles, so I don't know. His dad
I ain't
might.
got time for that.
The Denver Broncos last night, stay in New York, went to Western New York, and they went to Buffalo, and they beat the Buffalo
Yeah.
Bills last night in Monday night. Russ did cook 24 for 29, 193, and 2 touchdowns. Now, that's not a lot of yards, you'll say. But if you watch the game like me and Parlay did, I would say Russ looked very, very old school Russ, making a lot of plays with his feet, um, uh, you know, extending plays. The touchdown to Cortland Sutton, that was a fucking play if I'd ever seen one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this team is playing inspired. Sean Payton, I will say, I don't really like him like that personally as a coach, but he's a great coach, and they
Why?
definitely.
Why don't you like him?
There's a little bit of pride there with me with the Vikings and just being the hometown team and
Mm.
those years back and Bounty Gate versus
Oh yeah.
Brett Favre and
Yeah.
just some things, some inside things that I have from some friends and stuff that you know.
You don't want to drop any bombs on the show?
I just know some things about Sean Payton that he's a very he's like an Urban Meyer in the NFL. Like he's definitely
Wow.
he is. No, he is.
Wow.
He
No, I mean that this is an exclusive. This is a
he is
Ben
like Urban
exclusive.
Meyer. Bro. It's like he
Mm.
he loves to win at any cost, and so I just feel like you can read between the lines with that, and I just think that I'm saying I respect it, but I don't like it. You
Mhm.
know, I any day take obviously Mike Tomlin over Sean Payton. So, as a head coach, if I was to be, if I was playing on the NFL team, I would want to be coached by Mike Tomlin. I just think he's a real man of integrity. He comes from a Tony Dungy football tree, which is
What
it's just,
about what about Sean McDermott? What about Sean McDermott? Or
I think he's
oh,
a good guy too. But I'm just saying the Broncos are being inspired by Sean Payton right now. So I think Sean McDermott's a good guy. I think Shanahan's another good guy. But the Broncos are just the story at hand, and I think that they're turning their season around. And like you said, bro, let Russ cook. The NFL is going to be taken by storm right now, and we're looking different at the Broncos. Let's not forget they let 70 points up, a record high in the NFL in a regular season game. And so for me, I'm looking at this team right now. They play the Vikings on the Sunday night. I am tuned into this game. Astro Boy versus Russ Cook. This is going to be a good one. They got the Vikings, then they got the Browns at home. Then they got to go to the Texans. They got to go to the Chargers. They got to go to the Lions. They're going to be in a fight every game, but I think the way they're playing inspired, they're gonna stay in a lot of games. And a lot of people are not crediting their defense enough. Their defense had 2 interceptions on Josh Allen, a couple fumbles last night as well. And so to swing things to that side, you know who led the Buffalo Bills in receiving last night? Our guy Gabe Davis, 2 catches for 56 yards. Nowhere was to be found with Stephon Diggs, 3 for 34. If you watch the game, at the end of the game, his brother, one of the better corners in the league, Trayvon Diggs, tweeted that 14 needs to be released from the Buffalo Bills shambles. That is an interesting take. We'll see how far that goes, but yeah, man, Gabe Davis leads in the receiving. James Cook, 12 for 109. I didn't start him at running back this week, so. But Josh Allen, man, what do you got to say?
well, I just want to say for the Bills, and I'll quickly just say Bills, and then pivot to the Broncos. Um, Josh Allen, I did okay. I want to first say I apologize because again, I was proven wrong on this show. I was saying Josh Allen MVP. I was screaming that 4 or 5 weeks ago on the podcast. He is nowhere near MVP. Looks like an MVP. He looks terrible. He was throwing some bad balls last night as well, making some bad decisions, very bad decisions. And then he had 2 interceptions, and also the Bills. What you can see is different about the Bills and the Broncos is that when the Broncos at halftime are rushing off to kick a field goal to go up 3 points before the half, they don't need to take a timeout. Those guys were ready and efficient, and with 15 seconds left on the clock while it was running, no timeout. Guys came in, subbed in, they kicked a field goal while the clock ran out. That just shows you that that team is efficient. They got their ish together. They've practiced enough. They're focused and they're ready. Unlike a lot of the Bills who were fumbling, throwing interceptions, all these types of
But
things that
just
show that,
real quick, I didn't mean to cut you off. Finish your thought.
yeah.
Finish your thought.
Oh well, I just want it just shows a difference in a team and how it's like the Patriots always usually got their ish together because they practice and they're focused, and then some teams aren't focused, and it shows that maybe they didn't have a good week of practice, and that goes up on the coaching. And Russell Wilson had a QBR of 117.4. That's a good QBR. He was 24 for 29, and he was scrambling and throwing little no looks while he's doing like old Russell on the Seattle stuff, and he's efficient, no interceptions, and he's creating plays. And then when it goes back to on that offense, Javonte Williams running hard, another week of like 70 plus yards. That is going to be the core of their offense, the nucleus of what they do and how efficient it runs. If it's not him, it's got to be McLaughlin. But they got to have that run game going, and they do. And that's what Javonte Williams was a very like high draft pick, or he was preceded to be a good starting running back.
No, I agree with you. Go back a little bit about coaching. You just mentioned a couple of minutes ago Sean McDermott being a good coach, and which he is, but in the situation, I don't think he had the guys prepared because you bring up a good point.
I didn't say he was a good coach. I was just asking you
Oh, what do you ask? Well,
who you like better.
I think he's done a great job of turning that team around. But like I said to you last night, even on when we were talking, bro, I said that the window for their success is closing. Like we can't keep saying, "Oh, the Bills are one of those teams in the league and they should be feared upon. They got an explosive offense." And I don't feel that way this year. I think that they're starting to trend downwards, and it's getting real bad again. And I don't know. I like to hope Josh Allen is not, you know, turning very mediocre, but I don't know. But
Well, he
my point,
also leads the league in interceptions for the last like 6 years.
yeah, and that's bad. But my point to last night is you brought up a great point. The Broncos won that game on the Bills' mistake. Had the Bills not had 12 men on the field, that dude misses the kick, the Bills win. They blow the game because they literally had 12 men on the field, so they had to re-kick the kick from 5 yards ahead, and the Broncos win the game. So that's on Sean McDermott. That's
Yep.
definitely a game that they want back. That's gonna mean something, and it's not gonna get easier for them because yeah, they're in a division where a couple weeks ago we were screaming this division as the number one division in the league, AFC East. The Miami was looking good. The Jets were surprisingly good, looking good without Aaron Rodgers, and the Bills were looking good. But now Miami's going to take this division. Jets are going to find a way to try to fight. I still believe they have a good enough defense to me to where if they get the right matchups, they'll win games based on that. And they're going to, like I said, bro, this NFL's weird. It's about money. They want to see Aaron Rodgers defeat science, defeat God. They do. I don't. He can't defeat God to me. But they want to see Aaron Rodgers do some weird shit and come back. And so the Jets may be there. Now that's where I'm like, where does
Well,
that?
wouldn't that be a godly miracle if he did come back?
I'm not saying that God can't heal, and I'm not saying that. I think it's just very. You're right, bro. I'm not trying to go against my beliefs and stuff. I'm just saying it's more so it's not led by God from the perspective of what I'm saying. People in the NFL and these people that are making the money and
Money.
the puppet masters behind the scenes, they would like to see this for financial reasons, Hillenmeyer. And so
Yeah.
that's why I say that's where it's unspiritual at. But if Aaron Rodgers can come back, that is truly God. I'm saying if he can come back 100% healthy, hey man, I don't know if he's atheist or not. I don't know what he is. He seems very earthly to
He's
me. So
spiritual. I think he's
he's
spiritual.
spiritual, but come on, bro. Spiritual and believing in the one
Well,
spirit.
there's a conspiracy that he's not even really injured and that this is all made up to for money.
And that could be true, bro. And I mean, that's my whole thing. For him to be throwing the ball during the pregame, and he's like the way they're saying, bro, he's on pace to get back here by the middle of December. Like, come on, bro. That's not even end of the regular season. So I think if the Jets are in like that last spot, that means that the Steelers are well into the fifth, sixth seed. If the Jets are fighting for the seventh, that means that the Browns are not either there or the Bengals are not there because the Baltimore is leading the division right now. So you're asking a lot for the Jets to get that last spot. And I don't want to spend too much time because I want to get to rapid fire picks.
Okay, I just want to say, Rodgers is the type of guy to hold out for a contract and a re-signing in free agency with the Packers and hold things out like he did for a few years when he was in Green Bay. He's an attention seeker. And he might not even be healthy in December. And we might just be in December and he's like saying stuff like, yeah, I need another 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks later, he's like, yeah, I need another 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks later, he's like, yeah, I need another month and a half. So it's like, I could really honestly see that happening because we've seen that guy strive for the center of attention many times before.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. It's going to all play itself out. I mean, either way, they got to win for that to even happen. So we're asking for a lot in the Jets. On to week 11, man. Thursday night football. I would like to do better at my statistics. Talk about the teams on the bye week this week: Falcons, Colts, Patriots, and Saints. So we won't be seeing those 4 teams, which I don't care to see any of those anyway. The Bengals versus the Ravens. At the Ravens on finally we got a very good, intriguing Thursday night. Like finally in a while, where we're like fucking last week, nobody wanted to watch the Bears and the Panthers. We find that NFL knows how to get it right, bro, and they got it right this time. I think this would be a very interesting game. This is a must watch. There will be a lot of people probably ordering Amazon Prime this week because this is an important game. I don't want to spend too much on the first take about this game. I'll just go into like who I believe wins this game. I think if there's still no T. Higgins, I think the Ravens find a way to win this game, and they rely on their run game. Now the line is opening up at Baltimore -3.5, over under at 46.5. I would definitely just take Baltimore money line here after what I seen last week.
Yeah, I don't think Cincinnati has they don't really have. I mean, it's okay. It's kind of middle of the season, and this just seems like a game where the Ravens beat Cincinnati. It's not. If it was near the end of the season, Cincinnati really had their necks on the line to make the playoffs, which this could be that. I mean, but I just feel Cincinnati wins this game. I would take the money line as well. I would also go with the over 46.5. I think it's very competitive.
At Baltimore, you said you would take Cincinnati.
No, I meant I would take Baltimore money line and the over 46.5.
Yeah. Steelers at Browns. You know where I'm going with this. And anytime you make us an underdog, this makes my job even easier. Give me plus points. Give us plus the points. 3. It's opening up at Cleveland -3.5. Like I said, Deshaun is questionable. He hurt his ankle at last game. If he does not play, we will whoop the Browns. I'll just say that.
It's at 37.5. If he doesn't play, I wonder if the line moves down to 36, 35.5. I think it might.
It would.
Yeah, and I mean, I couldn't look at this game anything but under total points. If Cleveland is favored by 3.5, I'm gonna look at the under for Cleveland total points because I do think the Steelers defense, whether Deshaun Watson plays or not, I'm gonna wait to find out. But either way, I think that defense, however this game plays out, I don't see Cleveland being the team that this game could be won 10-14, and so it's like I could see Cleveland not getting above their total points. So I'm going to look at under for Cleveland total points.
Sounds good. Bears at the Lions. If the Bears had lost and you would have told me that Justin Fields may have come back, or they would have been playing a little bit more motivated this week after losing to the Panthers, I would have said this would have been a trap game for the Lions. However, I don't see it that way. The Lions are opening up at -10 and over under at 46.5. And this game of the week, my friend, is the what?
Shellacking
game of the week. I wish I had an clues bomb for that every time I give that segment, but I like the Lions here in a blowout. I think that they had a tough win versus the Chargers. That'll keep them motivated. Dan Campbell, we're another guy we're not talking about, Coach of the Year. I know it's a little bit more emotional with D'Amico Ryans. They're a little bit different, but Dan Campbell, 7-2. Lions have never been this great ever in their life. I think they'll have them guys ready to understand that this could be a trap game for them mentally if they try to walk in the park with this game. They need to come out and play explosive like they always do. Get Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jameer Gibbs is starting to cook. David Montgomery's back. Jared Goff. I love the non-slander for Jared Goff. I think the dude has resurrected his career, bro. Let's not forget former overall #1 pick, and he is showing why. And sometimes this is the thing I love, Parlay. We get some guys on here too that have played on a couple of multiple teams, and it's just the fact that finding the right fit. And Jared Goff has found his team, and the Lions, I believe, shellac the Bears. I'll take the Lions -10 versus this game. I don't. The Bears have no offense.
I like it. I'm just gonna say something different for the sake of the show, and I would lean actually towards this, but it's right now it's gonna be it's 46.5. They just played a high scoring game with the Chargers. I think Detroit focuses on their defense in this game because when it comes to playoff time, they don't want to be letting teams score 40 points. So I think this is a very defensive coordinated win for the Detroit Lions. And we know they have a run game. That's very much proven with the two guys, the two-headed monster of Gibbs and Montgomery. So I think that they run the ball a lot, and I think that they play a lot of defense. And maybe the Bears don't score any points. They might put up a goose egg because they don't have no offense. So I don't think they need to score a bunch of points to win this game because with also I think just coming off that game with the Chargers, they might want to I don't know. They just might slow down a little bit. Going back to back with 46 points, not everybody is, the Houston Texans and CJ Stroud. I'm just messing around. But I think that they focus on their defense and it goes under 46.5.
Yeah, there's just no way. Now that I'm getting better at betting and understanding, I'll do my studies this week. There's just no way when I look at it from this. No Justin Field, even if he played, he hasn't played great. But this backup quarterback is not the guy. I'm not trying to slander people. I'm just saying he hasn't shown nothing. So no, there's no way. I think this is, bro. As I'm looking at games, as you were talking, this looks like a promising week for some non-financial advice to our audience. I'm just gonna say that I like the next game here. Chargers at the Packers at Lambeau. Um, I like this game. The better pick would be to go over 44.5. But as well, I think this is a must win for the Chargers to stay in this fight as the AFC West is starting to heat up. So I like the Chargers to win, but I would take the better pick is over 44.5.
I like the Chargers -3 here. I have no faith in Green Bay, and the Chargers fight. Keenan Allen is a dog, and they fight. They still fight, and I was saying a lot of mean things about Brandon Staley, the head coach, and stuff at the beginning of the year, but you can't say that they don't fight for games. They were fighting against Detroit, and Herbert's a good quarterback.
There is rain in the forecast for this game, so that could factor in Green Bay. I will just say that.
Okay, yeah, I'll take the -3 Chargers.
Won't factor in this game for the next game. Raiders at Dolphins. Antonio Pierce, good story. It ends here. He'll get his first loss. Miami coming off a bye. Guys are getting healthy. Jalen Ramsey is back. I believe Xavier Howard will be back in a week or two. Tua healthy. They needed recharging. Obviously they had a bye week this past week, so we kind of forgot about them. I think now after coming off that loss in Germany, I believe they were in versus Kansas City, this is where they start their campaign. They will win the AFC East. So I think they come back explosive. The line is at -11.5 over under 48.5. I don't see it that way because I don't know how the Raiders are going to get points the way they do. So I would take the under 48.5. But with the only reason why I wouldn't say take that with the Dolphins, we've seen them put up 70 points. But I will say this: Antonio Pierce is not Sean Payton in the way of he will feel definitely disrespected. So I don't see it. He'll run the clock out, is what I'm saying, before he'll let over 48 points if they don't score any points. So I like this game to go under 48.5. Me, any points above 10.5 or even 10 is hard for me to lay. So I will
Yeah.
not do that. But I'll take the under 48.5. But I do Dolphins win in a blowout.
When I do things that involve my financials, I also look for strange. This is the NFL. Weird things happen. The NFL is weird. We know we have felt traps, and we sometimes it's just different for everybody. I don't know. There's just a weird trap feeling with this game. I don't know why, but
But in
um,
the way for the Dolphins,
no, it's see the trap also I'm considering the plus 11 and a half, and I'm considering the 48 and a half over under. Now with the trapping, I don't know if it's a win, but I don't know. Minus 11 and a half is a large spread. So it's like also this they could it's possible that they could blow them out. But when in everything that they're saying here, minus 11 could happen. With the Broncos, it felt like they didn't have anything really together. Like they needed 5 extra weeks of practice before their team could actually know what they were doing. They needed the more time. The preseason wasn't long enough for the Broncos. So that game did feel like, Sean Payton was just throwing the book away. I think that Pierce has been around the organization. It's like, even though he's 2 weeks in, it seems like he's been there for a long time. He knows these guys. He knows the ins and outs. It feels like he's been a coach all year. I don't know. I have a weird trap feeling with this game. I'm going to be looking at Josh Jacobs carries like over 25 because they were feeding him the rock a ton. Josh Jacobs is a dog. When last year he looked like the best running back in the league. So I think that what I was seeing with this Raiders team is that they are going to put the ball in Jacobs' hands, and he's going to lead this offense, and they're going to force feed him the ball. So I'm going to be looking at that prop. That's the only way I can look.
sounds good. Giants going to Landover, Maryland to play the Washington Commanders. Not very interesting game, but I will say this. It's over under 37.5. Washington minus 9.5. Guess what I'm going to do? And I think you're going to do the same thing. Give me the Giants plus 9.5. This Washington team isn't who we thought they would be. I don't like uh, the fact of like how they've looked even before trading their best two players away. I think too. Is there a possibility Tyrod could come back? I don't know. Tommy DeVito, your neighbor, he's not the guy. But the one thing I will say, late in that Cowboys game, the Giants did find some fight, as far as like some
Yeah.
pride about themselves, made a couple of plays, and I think they'll play very similar this week. I think this is a game now, like I said again, without Chase Young, without Montez Sweat there. This is a big game for Saquon to go crazy. And so
Yeah.
I think he's playing for a contract. If it isn't for the Giants, I like the Giants here plus 9.5.
I like what you said, and I like what you said about Saquon. I think that they force feed Saquon also in this game. You're right; they show hard. And are the Commanders going to start tanking? Like that's what they said they were going to do. That's what they showed they were going to do. Sam Howell is okay. He didn't throw any interceptions. He had 3 touchdowns. He threw for a lot of yards. He has glimpses of big games. He has glimpses of moments. Then he has glimpses of turning the ball over and looking like Baker Mayfield out there. So on a bad day, Baker had a good day last week. So, but anyway, yeah, I like what you said. I'm gonna because they're showing some fight. I'll take the over 37 and a half. It's a low over under. If the Giants can score, 21 points, and the Commanders can score 21 points. So I'll take the over 37 and a half.
Good bet. Cowboys at Panthers. Just common knowledge and just getting better, like we said, scouting games. This would be another like trap game, it would seem like. But as I think about the Panthers O line and what Bryce Young has gone through, this might be the game where I'm like, we might need to sit Bryce for the rest of the year, man. and keep him healthy before he takes some career or season ending injuries. You have Micah Parsons rushing after him this week, that Dallas front seven. I'm not gonna roll with the minus 10.5, but I will go first half spread, give the Cowboys, and I'll take the Cowboys -5.5 first half spread.
Oh yeah, I like that. Man, the Cowboys have days where they just blow teams out, and they Tony Pollard has had. There's something going on with Tony Pollard where it's like he's only scored like one touchdown since week one, and that's what's being talked about. So I might look for Tony Pollard anytime touchdown scorer as well. But this is not financial advice for you or anyone listening. This is just what I talk about with my own money. But yeah, so you're right. Like track games, you have like a trigger that goes off like in your head, like okay,
Can the Cowboys
I got a
go?
feeling. What's
Yeah,
that?
can the
Yeah,
Cowboys back to back putting up 40 points?
like I don't have
I don't.
that feeling, but you do. So that's how it's
No,
weird how it works.
I don't have that feeling. That's why I'm going the first half spread. I'd
Yeah,
rather, hey, you should be winning by 7 points at halftime versus the Panthers, at
right,
least.
right. And if you don't, it's weird and it's a trap. So I,
Thank you.
I, yeah, I feel like I like where you're going with it. Um, and I'd have to, like I said, I dang, this is hard. I'd have to just look at Dallas -10.5. And it's not like a heavy lean because it is like if I don't know. I don't really have the trap feeling, so I'll just say Dallas -10.5.
Good pick there. Next game, Titans going to Jacksonville. 75 degrees will be the weather, but there is some rain in the forecast. Over under is 39.5. Jacksonville -1.5. Like I said, you are a Jags fan. It sounds like I'm really not impressed by these guys. I
Yeah.
want to see what they're going to do. I'm staying away from this game. Yeah, that's all I'm going to give you.
Wow. So you're okay. You're
I
strong on.
don't know what team
That's cool.
Jaguars, and obviously the Titans aren't that great.
Yeah.
They're on the ball. With Derrick Henry, Will Levis may throw a couple picks. He may throw a couple touchdowns. I don't
Yeah.
know, but I don't want nothing to do with this game. It's not intriguing to me.
I will take I'll rock with the Jags -6.5. I have not lost hope in them, and I still believe in them. This is a get back game against a team who looks like they're gonna just start their rookie quarterback, and he's gonna have a development year, and he's gonna lose a lot of games. So I'll happily take the Jags -6.5.
Cardinals at Texans. Houston -4 opening up 47.5 over under, and that 47.5 is due to what, Parlay? Let's see if you can get the question right in the pop quiz. Why is it 47.5 now with the Cardinals and the Texans?
What did it change? I'm confused by your question. What
I'm
is the
just
question?
Kyler Murray's back, man.
Oh yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's why it's a high
Cardinals have
over under.
had over pretty much close to a 40-point spread the whole time, even when they had Josh Dobbs. So now with Kyler Murray back, the spread is
Extra
47.
touchdown.
Yeah, it's an extra touchdown in there. So I do, however, like the over. The intriguing thing I would like to see here is Nick versus CJ Stroud. And I say Nicky Rallis again, my best friend, one of my good friends. This is going to be
Defensive coordinator for the Cardinals. Shout out to the guy.
the coordinator for the Cardinals. I would like to see what he's going to cook up. Um, when I look on the paper, though, I'm just being real. I like the Texas receivers versus the DBs that they have outside of Buda Baker. But we'll see. We'll see. This will be an interesting game, but I like the over 47.5 here. I think Kyler Murray emotionally came back last week, helped them get some firepower. He'll find a way to get in the end zone a couple times versus the Texans. We'll see what the game end up being.
Last week, when I was thinking about this stuff on Saturday, I was thinking about is Stroud going to be motivated by Joe Burrow in the sense that if Joe Burrow is pushing the limit and he's throwing 300 yards, is Stroud going to be able to throw for 300 yards because he just did it the week before? And a lot of times, even great quarterbacks can't just go for 350 yards back to back in the NFL. Sometimes they have to come back down to earth, have a 230-yard game, and the run game has 100 yards, with a running back or something like that. But Stroud did what is amazing to see is like have a college type of game stats where he's 450 yards, 350 yards. And so now it's going to be like if Kyler Murray's going to throw for 300 yards, is Stroud going to match him and throw for 300 yards? It's an interesting thing, and I think that is his character. That's the fact is that he did it last week. I can believe that he's going to do it again this week. So I like the idea of thinking this game is going to go over 47.5. Also, Kyle, you mentioned it. This game is a touchdown more because of Kyler Murray. Maybe you want to look at Kyler Murray. I wonder, this isn't financial advice, but I wonder what the anytime touchdown scorer prop is because he's a quarterback. It's probably high, but he runs the ball a lot and he scrambles and scores touchdowns with his legs. Also, him throwing the ball, if you think he's going to be responsible, if his over-under is 1.5 touchdowns throwing the ball, you might want to look at that, Anyway, I like the over 47.5.
All righty. Bucks at the 49ers. Go a little bit faster here. San Francisco opens line minus 11. Over under is 41.5. I will say this, and this is not financial advice. This is definitely what I'm gonna do this week. If you want to, I just said if you want to, I'm gonna make some money because Christian McCaffrey did not score last week in the blowout versus Jacksonville. He was the only guy out of one of their with him and Brandon Ayuk. I believe both of them will have a big game at home versus the Bucks. Bucks DBs are weak. Christian McCaffrey before this was scoring an anytime touchdown consecutively for, I believe, 15, 16 straight games. In the game that they blow out the Jacksonville Jaguars, he doesn't score a touchdown. Guess what? He's going for 2+. So I would put a lot of money. If I was me, I'm going to do that on Christian McCaffrey, multiple touchdowns this week. And I do like Brandon Ayuk over 100 yards easily in this game.
Yeah. Give me the 49ers. There's levels to this. Give me the 49ers minus 11. Because the Bucks just beat the Tennessee Titans doesn't mean anything to me. The Niners with Chase Young are a different beast, and it's the only way I can look at it. Minus 11.
Jets at Bills. We've talked a lot about these teams today. Lines open up Buffalo minus 6.5. 40.5. Let's not forget this is a Monday night game. That's a get back for the Bills.
This ain't Monday night game.
No, I said no. I said this is a get back from Monday night.
Oh, got you.
Opening at night versus when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. They lost on the last punt return, last overtime. It's a crazy ending to a game that had a lot of sorrowful in it. But I do like the Bills to get back in this game. It's more of a must-win for them than it is the Jets, just because the way that the Bills are losing and just right now they are just. I just think emotionally just fatigued, and I think that's a good word to say. And I think that they need this win. They're at home versus the Jets. Jets defense is good. I will say that. Robert Saleh is not a great head coach, like I agree with you, but the defense does play good. And so It's not going to be a walk in the park for Buffalo. And they've started off slow in a lot of games. Last night they did the same thing. And so they got to find a way to win. I do like them to win here. I will take them with the money line.
So it says it's going to rain 50 degrees. It's going to be 50 degrees. Saleh does coach good defense, and 6.5 is a lot of points. And the Jets, if they're going to keep a game down to 15-10 in the third quarter, I like the 6.5 with the Jets, and I like the under 40.5 because it's going to rain, and Buffalo looks terrible on offense.
All righty. Seahawks at the Rams. Nobody really cares about this. Seahawks should win this game. It's 46.5 over under. I don't know if Matthew Stafford is back this week. Seahawks are a minus 1.5. That is a weird line. I will stay away from that right now just because I don't know the facts to this game. I have no idea why. The line is minus 1.5, but the game is over under 46.5. That's not screaming weird to you?
I'm looking at like the over. I'm looking at the over here because the Rams are coming off a bye, and Seattle. If Seattle's favored to win the game, then I believe that it's going to be neck and neck. Stafford throwing for 300 yards.
But I don't know if
have to pull it out.
Playing. That's the whole thing. I don't know if Stafford's playing.
Oh, okay.
He was injured. That's what I was saying. So
right, he's questionable.
Yeah, but he didn't play the last game. So
that will change depending on his status.
I just think this is another win that Seattle needs to stay in that NFC West fight, to stay in the fucking wild card race. So if anything, and obviously I'd tease down to the money line at this point. I would easily do that. So Vikings at Broncos.
Well, I just want to say if Stafford plays over 46.5, if he doesn't play, lay the points with Seattle.
Yeah. Vikings at Broncos, Sunday night football. Line opens up at 2.5, favoring Denver after the performance they put up last night. Over under at 43.5. I think as I look at this game, this is definitely going to be a defensive game. 49 degrees in Denver, Colorado on a Sunday night will be pretty cold with the wind, Mile High City. I like, however, if Jefferson's gonna be back and you got Astro Boy back there. I like how Russ is cooking, but if you're going to give me the line at this, now if the line was favoring the Vikings, I'd take the Broncos. Whoever it was favoring, I'm going to take the dog. And I like the Vikings here. Give me the Vikings, and I'll buy a half a point since I took the money line on the last one, and I'll go Vikings plus 3.5 here.
I can say if Justin Jefferson was playing, I would take the Vikings, but he's not probably going to play, and I'm going to go with Denver here, minus 2.5. I think that Sean Payton and Russell Wilson are cooking. They got it going, and defense looks solid. Dobbs looks solid, but he has to do a lot of things on his own. Madison might be injured. He had a concussion in the third quarter. They don't no Cam Akers, so they're really depleted at running back. I'll take the Broncos minus 2.5.
You know what? I don't change my picks often. You motivated me to do this. I definitely know how the NFL works. The Vikings are due for a loss. I'm sorry to the Skull Nation and to my family and the hometown team, but I'm with you. I like the Broncos here. I'll take them money line.
Yeah, it is what it is. Sometimes you
Eagles
gotta.
at Chiefs.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes when you think about it that way, I'm like,
Sometimes
no
you gotta
Jefferson,
take old Yeller out the back and put him down.
Yeah. And you just got to understand how the NFL works. NFL is weird, bro. That's what I like to say. Like, when a team's doing good, they got to find a way to lose. And I think the Josh Dobbs hype is so, like, watch how it's advertised all the way till Sunday night. And so I think this is dude definitely in a primetime game. Now we're going to get to see him in a primetime game. Like, yeah, I think the Broncos win here. Then we talk a little bit more about Russ and them winning 3 straight. So, Eagles versus the Chiefs, rematch of the Super Bowl Monday night.
Wow.
We got some fucking good football. I am definitely going to be intrigued to watch this match. The line is opening it up at Kansas City -3, and 3. Both of these teams coming off of a bye week last week. 45.5 is the over under. I definitely will look to lean to the over.
Yeah.
I will definitely look to lean to the over. Both defenses have been great at moments and bad. Similar to the Super Bowl, and like I continue to say, my theme this week has been the NFL is the NFL. Weird things happen. I think that there's a lot of money involved in having a bit of a shootout in this game to repeat how the Super Bowl was. I will say to just pick a pick. I'm gonna go 45 over 45.5.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like fireworks. I like good football. I think the Chiefs being favored also set the pace. And if the Chiefs are setting the pace, they're going to want to throw the ball and try to get up early because that's their identity. And the problem with putting financials on Philadelphia this year is that they can do whatever they want with the O-line being so good, and they can usually run the clock out and do what they want with teams and then hold the ball the whole quarter. But in this case, I believe this is a different circumstance, and I do still the offense is so stacked that they still can compete if they're throwing the ball. And I think since Kansas City is favored by 3, I think that is telling that they are going to set the pace and that Philadelphia is going to be able to match them on the pace, and it will go over.
Sounds phenomenal, partner. Another great week of just analyzing this game of NFL, man. We've enjoyed it today. Early risers today. Got to get coffee, got to get to work. But, man, you guys tune in Thursday night football, Baltimore. May even have another live during that or just clips of anything. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Spiritual Growth is out right now. It's been out. You guys go check that out. We've got some things brewing. Trust and believe we have to finish up this year strong. We've been taking care of business, whatever's on the lunch pail. But next year, Bro Media Group, you don't want to miss. I'm just gonna say that the ideas and the things that I've been writing in my book over there, somewhere over there, my blueprint book. You don't want to miss this, man. Check us out always. Anything you gotta say, Parlay?
You know what it is. Thank you. I appreciate you shouting out the album. Bro Media. We're hot. We're running. We're, new things coming. It's, just stay on the lookout. Follow us at Bro Media. Follow Life of D Green. Follow Parlay Hunter on all social medias. We're everywhere, over the place, all at once. Definitely subscribe on YouTube. Tune in. And yeah, we're coming in hot. It's going to be a great year. Great rest of the year of football.
All right, man. It's been real. I got to get to work, man. Y'all see you.
Peace.